list off, in my opinion, of the worst MCU movie. By the way, I love all these movies, just so there's some I like more than others. But coming in at number 23, we got Thor: The Dark World. Not a great story, forgettable villain, and it's just a forgettable film. That's why it's my number 23. Hello everyone, and welcome back to another video. As you can clearly see by the title of this video, this is part 2 of my Marvel review. If you haven't seen part 1 yet, where I reviewed all 23 MCU movies, you can click the link right here and go to that video before you watch this one. But as you can see by the title of this video, today I will be ranking all 23 MCU movies. Now, to quote another YouTuber, this is not the right ranking, this is my ranking. So, please enjoy. Comment down below what your ranking of the MCU movies are. If you don't want to do all 23, rank the top 10, rank the top 5, do whatever you would like, or rank the ones that you've seen if you have not seen all of them. Now, with that out of the way, let's get to the ranking. Now, before we get to the ranking, I just want to let you guys know that I'm not going to be reviewing all the movies again. If you want to see what I think about each movie, click the link up here to go to part 1 of my MCU review to see me review all 23 movies. This is only going to be a ranking of all 23 movies. It's not going to be as long as the other video. Now, with all of that out of the way, let's finally get to my ranking of all 23 MCU movies. Coming in at number 22, we've got Captain Marvel. This movie I had high hopes for. I loved Carol Danvers in this movie. She was great. She was a great hero. The only reason why this movie is way low on my list is because I expected it to be much more than it was. That's it. Coming in at number 21, The Incredible Hulk. Again, just like Captain Marvel, I'm not blaming the actors. I love all the actors in this movie. They all did a great job for a script that just like Captain Marvel, I expected to be a little bit more. Edward Norton was a great Hulk, but I personally love Mark Ruffalo just a little bit better than Edward Norton, even though both of them are terrific actors. But story-wise here, I expected more. Coming in at my number 20, we've got Iron Man 2. This is my least favorite out of the Iron Man trilogy. Just like the other problems, the only reason why this one's lower on my list is story-wise, and I feel like the villain Whiplash wasn't a very good villain. And the ending battle with Iron Man, War Machine against all of the robots, I don't know. It was meh, in my opinion. Coming in at number 19, we've got Ant-Man and the Wasp. Not as good as predecessor being the first Ant-Man. And don't forget, this movie also followed Avengers Infinity War, which is 10 years in the making. Ant-Man was not included in Infinity War, but now we know why, because of this story right here. But he comes in Endgame in the end. And you'll see where Endgame is on my list later on in the video. But at 19 is Ant-Man and the Wasp. Coming in at number 18, we've got, surprisingly, just my opinion, Black Panther. Again, not to blame the actors. I love Chadwick Boseman as Black Panther, aka T'Challa, and I love Michael B. Jordan as Killmonger. Not blaming the actors. I just want to see more of Black Panther in this movie than what we've gotten. I want to see more action. And to me, I didn't see much of Black Panther in this movie. We saw T'Challa. We saw... I don't know. This movie I wanted to see more story-wise with Black Panther in the movie. Coming in at number 17, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. I wanted to see more from this script as well. The very first Guardians of the Galaxy, we got to see them all come together for the first time. We get to see a new perspective in the MCU. We get to see them battle in space. And this movie starts off with them in another battle. But story-wise, this movie was not as good as the first one. And I wanted to see more from it. If you want to see, if you want to see why I prefer other movies more than other, go to my first part and you'll know why. Coming in at number 16, we've got Iron Man 3. Not a lot of people enjoy it. I do. Still not as good as the first one, but it was enjoyable for me. Coming in at number 15, we've got the first Ant-Man movie. Now, I'll say this, even though I said it in the previous video, I did not have any high hopes for this movie whatsoever, but it was better than I thought it was. I mean, better than I expected it to be. And it was really good. Coming in at number 14, we've got the first Thor. Now, Thor: The Dark World was at the bottom of my list. At 14, we've got the first Thor movie. A great origin story to a terrific character, but it's just lower on my list for reasons that you'll see in the other video. Coming in at number 13, we've got Avengers: Age of Ultron. Now, I absolutely love this movie. Coming from 13 up, I gotta say, it was really hard to rank it. At least from 15 up, it was hard to rank these movies because of how much I love all of them. But if we're going based on story-wise and character development, I'm going to put this one just a little bit lower than the other ones. Coming in at number 12, we got the start of the MCU, that being Iron Man. I know a lot of people put this in their top 10, and for a while, this was in my top 10, but it got moved down over the years because other movies I feel like had better character development. This was only the start. And even though his solo movies in his trilogy were lower on my list, this one was his best one, but I feel like his character development he gained more development in the Avengers movies and the Spider-Man movies, which you'll see higher up on my list. And coming at number 11, we've got the movie that finally fixed Thor for his solo movies, Thor Ragnarok. One of the funniest movies in the MCU. Chris Hemsworth absolutely nailed it in this role, and I can't wait to see more of him in Thor Love and Thunder, I think is what it's called. Don't quote me on that. Now, to kick off my top 10 of the MCU, we've got Captain America: The First Avenger. Out of the solo movies, I think there's one other solo movie. Yeah, there is. There's one more solo movie up here. But talking about the main Avengers, this was my favorite origin story. Even though Iron Man was my favorite in the MCU, origin story-wise, this one was my favorite movie. Coming in at number 9, we've got Doctor Strange. Another great origin story I enjoyed more than from the original Avengers. Doctor Strange is one of my favorite comic book characters, and his portrayal in this movie was absolutely phenomenal and great visuals as well. Coming in at number 8, what? What happened? What? Coming in at number 8, we got Guardians of the Galaxy. I believe this is the last solo movie. No, it's not. But, Guardians of the Galaxy is at number 8. I enjoyed this movie so much, and it was a huge surprise in the MCU when it came out. Coming in at number 7, we've got Spider-Man: Homecoming. Spider-Man's very first movie outside of Sony, and Tom Holland absolutely nailed it in this role. And this movie was just killer, and Vulture was an amazing villain, especially because Michael Keaton was playing him. Number 6, we've got Captain America: The Winter Soldier. The best second movie in trilogies, if we're talking solo trilogies, out of Iron Man, Captain America, and Thor. This is the best second movie. and it was a great introduction to the villain of Winter Soldier, who later became a hero. Coming in at my top 5 now, and now coming in to my top 5 favorite MCU movies of all time. Coming in at number 5, we've got the first Avengers movie. This movie, when it came out in 2012, I was so excited to see it, and every time I rewatch this movie, I love it more and more. And now, coming in at number 4, which may be a shocker to some of you, but I personally think that because of the character's development in this movie, it deserves to be up here. And that being Spider-Man Far From Home. A lot of you have this lower on your list, or some of you have it at number 1. Like I said in the beginning of this video, it's my rankings. And I personally think because he was without Tony Stark in this movie, he got to shine on his own. And his character development here was phenomenal. And he made his own suit. And from everything he's learned with Iron Man, it was a great film. And the villain of Mysterio, played by Jake Gyllenhaal, was amazing. And Mysterio is my favorite villain in comic books. And not in comic books, but of Spider-Man's villains. And now my top 3 favorite MCU movies. Coming in at number 3, we've got Captain America Civil War. For the longest time, this movie was my number 1 favorite because all of these characters came together, but instead of battling evil, they were fighting each other. For different sides, for different reasons. If you want to see more about what I think about this movie, click on the first part before watching this entire ranking. But you're already this far, so after this video, you can go part 1 if you haven't watched part 1 yet. If you came this far, at least. And now my top 2 favorites. If you have not guessed it, yes, it is the 2 biggest Avengers movie. A lot of you have this one at your number 1, but I actually have it as my number 2, that being Avengers Infinity War. The first time we get everyone in the MCU together to fight off Thanos. Great battle. Sad ending when Thanos had the snap, when he hit the snap, and you got to see all these characters disintegrate, except for the main Avengers. But now, coming in at my number 1, the best MCU movie of all time, and a final homage to the original Avengers, a final ending to Iron Man and Captain America, Avengers Endgame. Going back in time to retrieve all of the Infinity Stones to stop Thanos once and for all. And this movie absolutely gave a beautiful ending to the stories of Iron Man and Captain America. And I cannot wait to see what happens when we see the next Thor movie, because his story is continuing with Guardians of the Galaxy. And I cannot wait to see what happens with him. But in all the Infinity Saga, all 23 movies, this one absolutely nailed a finale to the original Avengers. And there you have it, everyone. My ranking of all 23 MCU movies, all the Infinity Saga. I gotta say, from like 15 up, it was hard to rank these movies. I actually switched a few of them in between. I think the one I remember the most is switching Thor Ragnarok Thor Ragnarok and Captain America: The First Avenger around, just because I enjoyed The First Avenger a little more than Ragnarok, even though Ragnarok finally fixed Thor. But I feel like Captain America: The First Avenger had a great origin story. And, yep, that's my opinion of all 23 MCU movies. That's my ranking. If you agree with me or disagree with me, comment down below what your rankings are of all 23 MCU movies. And if you haven't seen all 23 MCU movies, rank all the movies that you've seen so far from worst to best. And let me know what you think about my rankings. I want to thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you all in the next video.